Welcome to Songwriter in the House with two old dogs, John Byrum and Mike Anderson.
We're still here, still playing to win. Two old souls forever plugged in.
Welcome back to Songwriter in the House. I'm John Byrum.
And I'm Mike Anderson. And today we're flipping the coin from the last episode, John. We talked about the creative advantages of AI generated music, but now we're diving into the other side, the dark side.
Yeah, the dark side. This is the part where, people argue in the studios and on online forums and late night songwriter circles. It's those sorts of things.
Yeah, the concerns, the downsides, the stuff that makes musicians kind of uneasy.
And honestly, Slick, these concerns are valid. They really are.
Yeah.
I had them when I heard about it too. So today we're going to break them down for you. Not to scare anybody, but to help creators understand what this landscape is starting to look like. And before we get into our main feature today, we have a little bit of news.
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
You know that there is a brand new music chart out now that was discovered just for AI music. It's called SIQA. And it's the first of its kind that we know of, I guess, that tracks AI music. SIQA stands for the Sonic Intelligent Academy. I don't know where that Q comes in.
I don't know where that comes
We'll
from.
figure it out somewhere. They claim to be a global hub for AI-generated, AI-assisted music rather than a location-based organization. So this is from their website. Quote, the Sonic Intelligent Academy is dedicated to defining the global standards for AI-driven music creation. Through research, verification frameworks, and community initiatives and industry partnerships, SIQA ensures that creators using IA, whether fully synthetic artists or humans/AI hybrids, are recognized, celebrated, and supported. Explore the most influential AI native songs, the hybrid assisted hits, viral AI covers, transformation shaping culture right now. Update regularly. The SIQA AI music charts represent the live pulse of AI powered music. Unquote.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. It sure is. But
Man,
anyway, I was shocked when I saw that. I knew that there'd been some songs out there on Billboard magazine that were AI and had went big, but I didn't know that AI had its own chart, right?
And they do. And it's I'm looking for it here right now. The number one song in the country right now is from a guy, a gospel singer, I think. It's like this guy. His name is Thompson Therapy. Don't Play With Me. I don't know how many views he's got or how many streams, but it's got to be up there.
Actually, I think I looked on Spotify earlier and looked that up. Thompson Therapy, he's actually a gospel singer, okay? He's a young guy. I've not studied him a lot, but I know that he's young. He's a young guy. And anyway, he's a gospel singer, and he currently has 5.7 million streams for both his categories on this chart. And that's 5.7 million streams on Spotify. And that's
just Spotify.
That's just Spotify. And he's on the chart for the hot 100, or they don't actually call it the hot 100. They call it the top 100 AI songs. And also he's in the category for gospel, which is he's the number one song there in the gospel arena for in the top 20. So both his songs there, or that song in particular, has 5.7 million streams on Spotify.
That's amazing.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. And this there's another one, Soft Girl Era, by a girl by the name of Una Serene. And Una, if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, I apologize. Beautiful girl. It must be a good song because she has almost 2 million streams, I guess.
That's a bunch.
That's a whole bunch. And the
That's a
guy
whole
you
bunch.
turned me on to is this Kane Walker.
Yeah.
His song "I Don't Care." 8.9 million streams. Like, can you believe that?
That's a ton. And another thing I saw on Spotify where he had one song was out there that had 24 million streams. You know, I'm still of the old
Holy-
era. I think about spins, and we used to have spins. But now they
Wow.
don't spin anymore. They're streams, John. So
That, yeah, that's at 24. Can you imagine that 24 million? I mean, that's like the whole state of California listening to your song.
that's a whole bunch of folks. Anyway,
That's
so you got 4 folks there. All they're the top AI songs on SIQA's chart for the week of April 7th, 2026. And you heard it first right here on Two Old Dogs, right? And I saw that they were out there and they had their own chart for, I couldn't believe it, for AI music generated artists. I was just about freaked out.
Yeah, that kind of blew me away because in my mind, AI is still relatively new, but it's really not because they've got charts out for it now.
Yes, they got charts up. Anyway, you can check them out on that website. And we'll also in our remarks on right here on the YouTube channel, we'll in remarks we'll have their YouTube links for all these guys and girls where you can check them out and listen to their music and really get to know them. If you'd like to do that, you'll have that opportunity to do so.
We actually did a video for the song upstairs at Donna's restaurant and set off the smoke alarm and called the whole fire department showed up.
Actually, let me tell the whole story, folks. We did, or I did this. Me, I just had to have some smoke for effects, right? So I put some smoke for effects, and in a scene, and this little video we did, and it caused the smoke alarm to go off. Anyway,
it looked like the city was burning down. There was many fire trucks outside.
You just had to be there to understand what the deal was. But this is the Surfers, and we'll play a little bit of our original song, and then we'll play you the cover that we got AI to do for us today.
You are the one for me. I just cannot hide
Brings back memories, huh, John?
Lots of them.
feelings I have for you, bottled up deep inside. I just wanna hold you close, feel your heart next to mine. These feelings I have for you, baby, please be mine. Oh, I love you so I just gotta let you know, my darling, will you be mine?
And folks, that's John Byrum playing the guitar there. 12
That's
string.
my old 12 string.
Great job, John. Woo!
You are the one for me.
And that was, of course, yours truly singing, but John and I wrote that song, and John played the 12 string on it. Well, this is the AI version. It's the AI cover version of the Surfer original. Not bad already.
I like that saxophone there. Well, that's a guitar, I guess.
Yeah.
You are the one for me. I just cannot hide
Wow.
Yeah, very different vibe.
Feelings I have for you, bottled up deep inside. I just wanna hold you close, feel your heart next to mine.
Ooh, I like that harmony right there.
Yeah.
These feelings I have for you, baby, please be mine. Oh, I love you so, so I just gotta let you know, my darling, will you be mine?
Well, I love that part right there. Very different.
I think it's a different version, but they did a great job on that, and
They did do a good job.
didn't take long at all to do that. So that's the way that a cover works. Going to get into the cons of AI, okay? And the first thing we want to bring up, let's start with the big one: artistic identity.
Oh boy, are you not? This is one I had a problem with.
Yeah.
When AI can generate, melodies, lyrics, chord progressions, even full production, it raises a real question. What makes that music yours?
Exactly. If an AI can spit out a John style ballad or a Mike style gospel groove, does that dilute your signature sound?
It's not. It's not just about copying. It's about the temptation to lean on AI so much that your own creative voice gets quieter to the point where you don't hear it anymore. You become lazy.
And you stop developing your instincts. You stop taking risks. And it's all about taking risks and doing new things, right, John? It's all about that. You
It
gotta do
is.
that. You stop making the weird choices that make you you.
And yeah, I've made a few weird ones in my lifetime.
Yeah, we've all done that for sure.
AI can imitate. It's a computer, so garbage in, garbage out. It can imitate, but it cannot live your life and experience your life experiences. It can't feel your heartbreak. It can't feel your happiness. It can't tell your story like you can.
And if
That's all
creators
there is to it.
if creators forget that, their music starts sounding like everybody else's.
Boy, like country music today, all sounds the same to me.
It all sounds the same.
Well, another concern that I have, especially on the musical side, is my skills, losing my skills, skill atrophy. You know, I'm old now. My hands are arthritic, and it's hard to make some of those chords I used to make when I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
But at least they're still there.
Yeah, and some of those bar chords are still hard today.
Well, I cheat a whole lot on those.
Me too. I use a clamp on some of that stuff, folks. Of the
Oh,
old,
heck yeah.
actually, it's a capo, but we called it a clamp. But
cheater.
John's talking about losing your chops. If AI writes your chord progressions, melodies, your lyrics, you kind of stop practicing those muscles.
It's just like, and I've heard teachers say this. Remember when electronic calculators came out? So
Yeah.
no, people say, teachers back then would say, "Oh, you've got to learn how to do it, or you'll forget how to do it if you use a calculator." Well,
Right.
guess what?
They kind of
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they kind of forbade us to use a calculator. We couldn't use it.
Exactly. Ask an eighth grader what time it is by looking at an analog clock.
They can't do it.
They can't do it. So it's like using a calculator. Eventually, you forget how to do the math yourself.
And music is the same way. Songwriting is a craft, really, and production is a craft. Mixing is a craft, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, it is. And if AI becomes your default shortcut, you risk losing the very skills that made you a musician in the first place.
And once those skills fade, it's really hard to get them back.
It's almost impossible. I would hate to try to learn today's music today. I just
Right.
like to lead to Hotel California.
Yeah,
you know.
really.
Um, but the one thing that we as artists and we need to think about is the ethical and the legal uncertainty of all this stuff.
And that's
That
huge.
it is huge. It's a legal gray area.
Yeah, it is. And the copyright law is still trying to catch up with AI. Right now, it's very messy.
Oh yeah, if the AI model was trained on copyrighted music, who really owns the output?
If your
Who-
AI generated melody accidentally resembles a real song, well, who's liable?
Yeah, and people get sued. They you learn 3 chords and you've learned about 20,000 rock songs.
Sure
You know,
have.
and the question is who is liable?
Yeah.
People get sued if someone uses AI to mimic your voice or your style. Do you have any protection?
John, these are real questions, and the answers, they just aren't clear yet.
No, they're not. And until they are, you and I and other creators, we're going to be working in a fog. That's all there is to it.
Let's talk about something a lot of musicians feel but don't always say out loud. What is that?
Oh, that's the fear that human creativity is being devalued.
Exactly.
And it is.
Mm-hmm. When AI can generate a full song in 30 seconds, folks, 30 seconds is all it takes, it can make the years you spent learning your craft feel much less appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. And the worst thing that can happen is that it can create a market flooded with this cheap, fast, disposable music.
Quantity goes up, quality goes down.
Every
The average
time.
listener can't always tell the difference between the two.
And that can push people the real artist, Gordon Lightfoot. I'll use him as an example, man. Gordon Lightfoot was a master songwriter. He could write songs in his
Certainly
sleep,
could.
probably did.
Canadian guy.
Yeah, Canadian.
Yeah.
That can push them into the background.
Not because they're less talented, but because they're less instant.
Okay, that brings up another subject, and that's job displacement in this industry. We all know studio musicians and, mixers and engineers and songwriters that make their living doing this.
That's right. And AI is already being used for temporary tracks, like
Yep.
for just a demo track, a jingle, background cues, and low budget productions.
Yeah, think about it. For some companies, that temptation is way too strong. I can see the CEOs sitting there saying, "Why hire someone to do this when AI will do it for free?"
And that puts real pressure on working musicians, especially those who rely on smaller gigs to pay the bills.
Yeah, that's true, and we know a lot of them.
Yeah.
Don't we, Slick? Well, we know
Sure
a
do.
lot of people who make a living doing gigs like this, but I don't think AI will replace all musicians because people still like live music.
They do, but it's going to replace some of the entry level and mid tier opportunities that used to help
Yes,
musicians kind of build their careers.
absolutely. That's what they pay their dues.
They do.
Playing in beer joints with fences in front of the band so the beer bottles can't come and start flying out of the crowd. Been there and done that.
That sounds like a certain movie I've seen quite a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man, but being a musician, one of my biggest fears was the homogenation of music. You think about it. It's being created, on a computer, and eventually everything's going to start sounding the same.
it sure is. Like AI models are all trained on what already exists. So they tend to generate what's already popular.
Yeah, it does, and so that means fewer surprises.
Yeah.
Fewer left turns, fewer moments where a song breaks the rules. I mean, there's going to be people like the Beatles. Think about it.
Right.
Talking about a surprise.
Oh, yeah. Well, historically, the best music came from breaking the rules.
That's exactly right. But AI doesn't break them; it averages them.
And if the industry leans too heavily on AI, we risk losing our edge, the imperfections, the bold choices that push music forward.
Slick, that's funny you mentioned the imperfections. That's a lot of audiophiles, a lot of musicians like that dirtiness, that imperfect
Absolutely.
sound.
Yeah.
It different, it kind of adds to what you're trying to do. And this kind of leads us into another part. Downside of AI is the authenticity and the emotional disconnect that you have.
Yeah.
You know,
Music is certainly emotional. It's personal. It's human.
oh boy, is it ever. It can mimic emotion, but it can't feel it.
And listeners, they can tell it. They sure can. Maybe not
Oh, yeah.
consciously, but emotionally, they can tell it.
Every time. And there's a difference between a song written from genuine heartbreak, as you well know. You did the music for one of mine, and a song written from a data set.
And if
You know,
AI generated music becomes the norm, don't you think that we'll lose that emotional depth? I'm sure we
oh,
will.
absolutely. Not only that, we will lose the quality of the content.
We sure will.
Another issue is this sheer volume of AI generated music hitting all the platforms. I mean, think about that.
Think about this, John. You probably already know this. You know how many songs are actually uploaded to Spotify every day?
I think you told me something like 100,000.
120,000 a day. Can you
100
imagine?
a day.
Of course,
A
that's
day.
worldwide, but still
Yeah,
120,000 songs on Spotify every day.
it is amazing. But speaking of that, you said it's all over the world. Mike and I have some songs on Spotify, and we have people listening from uh, Kazakhstan and Malaysia and Singapore and
So it
the
opens up doors
Philippines.
too, you know?
It definitely opens up doors. But the one thing that I don't like about it is that you're not putting any effort in it. It's low quality, and it's all based on these stupid algorithms that these programs rely on.
And that makes it a lot harder for real artists, to kind of stand out, you know?
It does. Even though I think some of the real artists that write their music and let AI maybe arrange it for them, I think they'll still break through. But it's going to be a lot tougher for them. So it clutters up the ecosystem. It overwhelms us as listeners, and it buries genuine creativity under this mountain of noise.
And streaming platforms aren't built to filter that out yet.
No, they're not. And that's so here's, this is kind of getting into the deep, dark corners of this is that people can use it to clone your voice or clone anybody's voice. And identity theft, this one's getting a lot more attention lately.
Yeah, and AI can now mimic a singer's voice with scary accuracy.
Oh, unbelievable. Um, I've noticed on YouTube now that they're required to put up in the corner that it's artificial intelligence or created
Yeah.
it was done by AI.
hmm
But that opens, this opens the door to fraud, impersonation, misuse. What if somebody called you up using, Robbie's voice,
Oh,
for
yeah.
instance, and say, I'm in trouble. Can you send me $10,000? That's the kind of thing
And
that.
it sounds just like him, right? You
Oh,
think
exactly.
it's him.
I know. I mean, it's amazing how close the quality is.
Well, imagine this, Byrum. Imagine somebody releasing a song in your voice without your permission.
Well, first of all, with my voice, it scared the hell out of everybody. But but I understand the concept. I wouldn't like it a bit.
No,
Or using your voice to say something that you would never say.
that's not just a creative issue. That's a personal safety issue.
Oh, it's absolutely a personal safety issue, but it happens, and we all know it does. But at the end of the day, the biggest concern is really simple.
Music is human.
Ah, it's messy, it's emotional, it's imperfect, it's full of soul, but it's human. And it can't replace the human experience behind that music. Because most of the songs that I've written, and some that I know that you and I have written together, were very emotional songs, whether it's good emotion or bad emotion.
Right.
You could feel the emotion through the words and the music.
Yeah, you
Like they
can.
can't replace it.
No. But here's the thing, understanding the risk doesn't mean rejecting the great technology that's out there.
Oh, you're not kidding. I mean, and it's only going to be more and more. It's only going to get more ingrained, but it means using it wisely and thoughtfully and intentionally and ethically.
Folks, AI is powerful, but power always comes with responsibility, right, John?
Absolutely. And as creators, it's up to us, me and you, to protect our craft, our identity, and our humanity. And if you talk to any songwriter, and I know a bunch of them, they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah, they will. Next episode, we're going to talk about how to balance both sides, and that ought to be interesting. How to use
Yes.
AI without losing yourself.
Absolutely, guys. Folks, be sure to hit that like button. Leave us a note in the remarks. Let us know what you think about our show here, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out.
Yeah, it does.
Pass this along to a fellow creator. I'm sure they'll be interested. Until then, folks, keep writing, keep creating, and keep your artistic voice strong. Thanks for watching and listening to Songwriter in the House. For Mike Anderson, I'm John Byrum. We are out of here.
Join us next time for Songwriter in the House with two old dogs, John Byrum and Mike Anderson.